Hello and welcome everybody. I am your humble host Gavin the Kitty, and today we are having a late start. I am playing Megaman 5 and 6 via the Legacy Collection. We will be running a poll to see which one we do first. How is everybody doing today? Hello Skylar, hello X0XL, and hello Jeru. Welcome, welcome. So I'm going to put out the poll here. Should have started it beforehand, but which game? 5 or 6? So today's stream is about Mega Man 5 and 6. Next week we're going to be mostly Game Boying it with Mega Man's 5 for Game Boy and 4 for Game Boy. So Scholashes are doing good. They saw the video premiere. Looks great. Well, I'm glad you liked it. We've got 67% for 5, 6 people. Yeah. 67 for 5 and 33 for 6. I'm going to let that run a smidge longer. But with me today, I've brought along Casey Tape.
Hello everybody, it's me again, back for another stream.
So your guys' chat will be read out loud, just as it always is. With that, I think we're going to end the poll for now, though, because it looks like 5 is 1 out. We are going to start with 5. So how is the chat holding up? We'll be doing both today, don't worry. It's not like it's not an or. It's not an either or, it's a both.
I know, it's just I wanted 6 first.
It's alright. Hello, puppy dog. Welcome. Welcome. We're getting so many people. I hope everybody enjoyed yesterday's little rant video. I'm sorry that it's not exactly, the longest piece of content I've ever put out, but, I love how my live feed just decided to stop. So that was Mega Man 5's opening right there. Oh, I can hear you humming and stuff, Casey.
Sorry, my bad.
It's kind of coming through really weird. Anyways, so in this game, Proto Man has taken Dr. Light, and Mega Man has to stop the 8 rampaging robots built to slow Mega Man down. All of them were taken from normal jobs. Only 1 or 2 of them are really wily bots, so that's something new. Howdy, Gavin? I'm fine, puppy dog. Thank you for asking. I hope the whole chat's doing well. We're gonna start up with Gravity Man stage. We've got letters to find and all sorts of stuff to explain, so... Casey, how are you doing today?
Alright.
That wasn't very chatty, okay.
I'm sorry.
I hope the chat's been doing well. I have been trying to keep up with news today because everything has decided to hit me in the face at once, which is just, just lovely. So, I played the Sonic Frontiers DLC stuff. Music tracks are great, the challenges are awesome. But are they worth another stream? I don't think so, not yet at least. We're gonna do that all in due time.
Puppy dog says they're sleepy.
I'm sorry about that, but I'm glad you are here today. So, let me go with, Karmic says EP. Oh, lovely. Hello, Karmic, welcome. I'm gonna start real fast. Oh, we've got something for the bottom text real fast. I'll let you read that out before chat starts moving a bit too fast for you.
I can't wait for the special edition of Mega Man 5, where Mega Man shoots first and not Proto Man.
Why do you keep making that reference?
Star Wars.
Anyways, so Mega Man 5 is really interesting because it has one of the harder chips to work with, as the MMC5 mapper chip. Now, in terms of NES standards, what that allowed for was bigger sprites, less sprite flicker, and just overall a longer soundtracks as well. So
Was that also...
Oh,
sorry.
So
I was gonna ask, was that also... I'm sorry, I'll just let you...
Ask your question first.
Okay, I was gonna say, is that how we got that pretty background earlier that was moving?
Yes, it is how we got that background that moves. Along with that, it allowed for more gimmicks that the NES has a hard time computing with. So most NES games, if they have a gravity gimmick where the player character is being flipped upside down along with enemies, generally, that title, that is their only gimmick. Mega Man 5, that is not the only gimmick. It takes up a lot of space on the cartridge, but with the MMC5 mapper chip, it allows for the NES to handle this no problem, which is just fantastic, with very little slowdown. By the way, we are playing on the Turbo mode found in the Legacy Collection, so there will be less slowdown found on than the original NES cartridge, so... But it allowed for quite a lot, moving, lots of parallax scrolling effects, fancy stuff. Some stuff that could only be done on the Famicom, generally. So we are playing the Japanese version of this and 6, just because of the really cool effects you won't see in the NES version. So, all that being said, I would love to hear chat's thoughts on Mega Man 5 here, as we tackle down Gravity Man. This right here is the entire reason why this marathon is gonna be a long one. It's because of games like this. See, look at those sprites. Yeah, the previous NES games didn't have that many rotation sprites for Mega Man. And heck, they didn't even have any.
Jaru says I like Mega Man 5.
5's good. 5's good. For gravity to gyro. It also allowed for that fun pixelation effect when you pick a boss, which is something I don't hear people really talk about. In fact, in terms of NES Mega Man, 5 is one of the most technically sound. It's also one of the most technically safe. And I'm not sure really how else to make that, like, abundantly clear. Like, it's all... I don't know. It just seems like 5 has the most really cool tech, but the least creative ideas. Not to say 5 is a bad game, just that it's lacking in some areas. But,
The bottom text...
Oh, go for it.
The bottom text says, I love how there's an option to remove the slowdown, but not to remove the sprite flickering, and maybe display the proper aspect ratio.
We are in the proper aspect ratio. And there is. If we really want to play like this, we can. We absolutely can. But for your viewing pleasure and, you know, to make it easier to see, I play on a full setting. There's also a really accurate, there's really accurate TV and monitor filters as well on this. But essentially all it does is boost the CPU speed. The reason why it doesn't increase the sprite counter is because that actually messes with some of the games. The sprite flicker. When the NES has to start doing sprite flickering, most games tell the game to not continue spawning enemies. If not, then you just get, like, respawning enemies and things, they just won't stop coming. If it's not programmed properly. And there's a lot of what-ifs for, like, Mega Man 2 and 3. Because they never intended for the players to allow for that. Because the chips for that didn't exist until, you know, Mega Man 5, so... Kinda difficult to make something for, you know, plan for something that isn't feasible at the time. So, when it comes to Mega Man 5 and 6 and stuff, I know I could play a version that reduces sprite flicker for 1, 2, and 3, but I think it's important to show the authentic versions of these games. However, for 3, I will be... I do want to show off at least one cool hack, but there's an improvement patch for 3 that adds cutscenes and stuff. So, I might show that off. I might hold a poll for it, but that's not till later down the month, so... Oh boy. I'm trying to think of what else to talk about here, because there's quite a bit, but... You know, we're kind of just... We're in the real slow portion of this game.
Yeah. The bottom text says, by the way, these are not the original games. These are rebuilt to play and look like the original.
No, they are not, actually. These are the original games.
Jaru says, use gravity hold.
Oh, don't worry. We used gravity hold. The Mega Man Legacy Collection uses an emulator. The ports that are, so, the versions of these games that are not ports were released for the PlayStation 1. They were called Mega Man Complete Works. Those had a port to the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. However, there was glitches that came with that. I have the Complete Works, and I have the Anniversary Collection, but I chose to play the Legacy Collection because it's the easiest and also partially the best way to play these games. And to go alongside that, I really did just, you know, I wanted to showcase the game how it was originally intended. Anyways. Casey, do you got any questions for me?
None so far.
Gotcha.
I know. I normally am filled with questions, but today's just been really different. Actually, I do have a question. What do the Rockman 5 letters do?
So, if you notice, we've got we have a bird companion on the far right of the screen. He's called Beat. However, he's not completed yet. In fact, he needs a couple parts. And we are picking up the letters because they are care packages of parts that were stolen from Dr. Cossack's lab. They allow him to finish making Beat, who is going to help Mega Man fight alongside the bird. Because unlike in 7, 8, 11, and basically any other appearance of Beat, here he's combat assistant instead of, you know, helping newcomers get out of pits. So, Beat has, I think, one other focus in terms of that, and that's Barrier, but I'm not too worried about that yet. If you want to continue reading out chat real fast, because I am...
Yeah. Gotcha.
We're going places.
For some reason, the PS Vita doesn't have the Complete Works version of 5 and 6, but they have those versions of 1 through 4.
Yes, that is because Capcom realized that nobody was buying the NES, the Complete Works versions of them all in America, so they decided not to release them over here. They got all the way up through 4 and then stopped. Japan has all of them now. But, is that the only text?
Yeah, that's all there is.
Gotcha.
It's a bit slow today.
Seems it. It's alright. I got a late start, so I'm sure chat's getting a late start too. In this collection, they also allow for rewinds, which is just lovely. Because we'll be using that to our advantage in most of these games going forward. Especially when we get to the Game Boy games. However, for the Game Boy games, I wish I could tell you guys that there's like some great best way to play those, but there really isn't. I will be showing off a neat way to play them, but... I have gotten a fight with him where he does not use his shield. It doesn't...
Felipe says, oh, it's Elton John.
Yes, it is Starman. Starman is both a space and sea exploration robot. And, yeah. I don't know what to say about him, really. I like his NetNavi version a little better in terms of design. However, I like Starman. And he later showed up in the Game Gear game for Megaman 5, Megaman for Game Gear. I think it's we're placing that one near the end. I believe that'll be done with the DOS titles.
Let's see here. Puppy Dog says they boop you and run away.
Oh, we'll get back here.
Informs us of what the true name of the weapon is.
Yeah, it's Star Crash.
Crash weapon.
Yeah. If you're playing the Game Gear game, though, then it's just it's Star Weapon, Napalm Weapon, Stone Weapon, Bright Weapon, Toad Weapon. It's really that version of the game is just weird. However, I like to get the Star Crash before we do Crystal Man. None of these bosses are too hard. I have done a Buster-only run of this game. Mega Man 5 is a good starting point if you know nothing else of the series. It's a fine game, it's good enough, but it doesn't really do anything to wow me. And it's very clear they didn't really have too many ideas left for the Blue Bomber. And I'm gonna get to how I know this. So, Mega Man doesn't have any new moves. He's still got the slide, he still has the charge shot, but the charge shot is now upgraded by Dr. Cossack, so it takes up, you know, a lot more of the screen. Their other major change was the rush coil. Contrary to popular belief, you get the same height from this rush coil that you do any other rush coil. The only difference is now you can control how high up you go, which makes it good in some respects, but not great. You can blame Dr. Cossack for that modification there.
Starman's weapon could only be either a shield or the screen nuke. Anything else would feel wrong.
Yeah. I like the shield, though. It's very useful. These guys are Crystal Joes. They are probably one of my favorite Sniper Joe variants. They are completely invincible while charging up. Then they let go, and you're down to attack them.
Are they your favorite because they're easy to take down?
I just like the look of them. In terms of difficulty to take down, I actually think that Skullman's Skull Joes are easier because they're vulnerable pretty much all the time.
I just don't like Sniper Joes.
Here's a fun platform. They got some use out of the spinning Mega Man sprite. If you notice, though, my colors weren't changing while I was charging up on that spinning platform. It's because the palette can't change while it's rotating a sprite. It has to hold a palette to pull out those, so they don't expect you to charge while standing on them. Oh, there's an M-Tank. This is the first game to have them.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
And it's the M-Tank is kind of necessary for the end portion of this game. I have never really beaten it without one. But just hold left there once you get past that screen, and you will always get that letter number. Yeah. I want to call it a circuit plate because we played 7 earlier, so. Looks like we got a lot more in chat.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to read this. It says, I think Rockman EXEW. Wait, I think it was Rockman EXEWS. I'm not sure what one that is.
That is a WonderSwan exclusive Mega Man Battle Network game based on the anime, and it has pretty much the first 2 seasons of the anime retold in game form before the first 2 seasons ended.
Oh, okay.
Or even aired, really.
They were talking about which game they beat first, and Jaru was like, I think it was the WonderSwan version.
Felipe says Starman could only either be the shield. I think it was the first Mega Man I've beaten. Ooh, nice. We also have somebody named Cutters says that I'm doing a great job. Well, thank you so much. If you guys don't mind, I am gonna take this moment to chill out just a little bit. This channel is run by myself and stuff, and it helps out a lot when you guys leave a like or subscribe or both. Helps us out with the algorithm, it helps us stay relevant, and it allows me to make more content because, you know, I have that motivation to do it when you guys are enjoying the content. So, please, drop some likes, subscribe, recommend it to a friend. And that's my one shill for the day. I'll probably do one more when we do 6, but on to the next level.
Let's see here. Felipe says the true Mega Man visual novel.
Wait, what?
Here.
Oh, I'm confused. Why are we talking about a visual novel?
Oh, they said that Rockman WonderSwan was the true and definitive visual novel.
No, it's a platformer. It's a platformer.
They're saying it is one.
I mean, it's
not like the actual game.
I know it. I get it. they're jabbing at the cutscenes. So this is Napalm Man stage. This is the reason that Mega Man 5 was initially. Yes, that can happen if you're too slow there. So this game was Mega Man 5 was initially banned in Vietnam because, you know, video games were top of the prime. However, Mega Man is a world-scaping game, so you see different parts of the world. This is meant to be one of the caverns from Vietnam. They don't want kids playing in those. They could get seriously hurt or injured. Or even worse. So, guess what? Mega Man 5's banned because this stage in particular was too close and too accurate to the tunnels, because they didn't have a chance to fill all of them in after Vietnam. Mega Man 5 is now completely fine over there, but the initial release was not. And that's like the one really cool fact about Mega Man 5 that like a few people know.
Felipe says, yeah, calling a boss War Crime Man would feel kind of bad.
Yeah, it would. We're gonna try to keep away from it, from talking about too much of what actually went down in that conflict. But it is really interesting that it was so that this is technically accurate, according to officials in Vietnam, which I think is really, really kind of funny, a little stupid. But I mean, you know. That's what happens. These bombs here are annoying. Their shrapnel homes in on you unless you shoot them. So be sure to shoot them. And if they're hit with other shrapnel, then they'll go after you. So you kind of sort of gotta just be careful. These guys react like the big fish from Mega Man 2. We'll see him later. I'll also show you a really cool thing that you can take out the big fish in Mega Man 2. I think I'll showcase that in either the Wily Wars or the original. I'm not sure yet. We're doing both, so. Sure, why not? I'll take any tank. This game is very... I find this game pretty easy. So. This fight is really fun, Buster only, though. Crystal Ball's angles, because it's not multiple sprites like Gemini Laser is, it actually doesn't lag the NES nearly as much. So even when you're fighting this guy normally without the turbo mode speed, do not be scared to use his weapon. It doesn't lag the game out. Works just fine. It's actually really nice that it doesn't lag the game, because 3's Gemini Laser made it basically unusable in that version of the game. What else do I have to say? We're just kind of breezing through the game.
Blar.
Blar?
Oh, I said you are.
Got the mini Mets here. Speaking of...
Another Met variant.
Yep. Oh, we also had the Cannon Mets that we saw back in Napalm Man stage.
Hey, these are mommy Mets.
These guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the mini Met that they produce are also its own variant. The mini Mets... The mini Mets make an appearance in a... hidden, in Mega Man ZX, believe it or not. Also, there's lots of secret breakable walls in this stage, so...
Someone named Buck Wild says, I love in this game, you are gotta do this again. I think what they're trying to say is they love this game and you got this.
I would say that's... I would have to assume that's what they're saying. Either way, thank you so much for dropping a comment. Welcome to the stream. Don't worry, once we do Mega Man 6, I'm sure that things will pick up a lot in terms of commentary, because I love Mega Man 6. I don't have much of a history with 5, like I do with 6 or 4 even. I recently got a Famicom cartridge of 5. I guess I could talk... You know what I could talk about? I could talk about the North American release of this game, because they kind of screwed the pooch there. So, Mega Man 5 was the last Capcom-made NES game. Capcom-made NES game that Capcom licensed out. Like, did the publishing rights on. So, if you think about it, they published and made 1 through 5. They made and published 6 in Japan. Mega Man 5, you know, the Super Nintendo was out by this time. They knew that the Super Nintendo was going over way better in America than it was Japan, so for 5, they did a limited release of the games. Then, when it came time to port Mega Man 6 from Famicom to NES, Capcom said no, initially. Capcom would not publish the game in the States. Nintendo of America said, we will handle distribution, making the cartridges, everything. Box art, all of it. We'll keep it true to the style of the game. We'll do the localization. We won't cut any content for 6. And all Capcom had to do was pay, like, I think it was... I think Nintendo just paid, like, half of the normal fee. They did not... Capcom did not foot the bill for Mega Man 6 on NES. At least not the NES version. They did for the Famicom version. So, this was the last NES game that Capcom published in the States, really. Because Mega Man 6 was done entirely by Nintendo. for publishing rights in the States. You can kind of think of it as they had faith that the SNES was gonna do well, but it was clear that Nintendo thought Mega Man 6 was one of the NES's best. That it was so good that they had to release it over here, which worked. Like, the game sold like hotcakes. In fact, Mega Man 6, the whole reason 7 got greenlit for the States. In fact, I know more people who owned 6 than owned 5. So, yeah. Enough of my legal Oh! I was gonna say enough of... Okay, let me say it real fast. Enough of my jargon. I was gonna have you read chat or ask a question or something, because I feel like I've talked quite a bit already.
Okay. Right. Felipe said, so these are mommy Mets? I thought they would be hotter.
Don't hurt the Mets' feelings.
Mets can be whatever they want to be. Apparently, there's like so many variants of them. Let me see. Felipe says that they hated this level. The only level they missed the beat part. Jaru says it's actually quite simple. And Felipe returns with, so they did the covers for Mega Man's 1 through 5?
They had multiple different artists for the first two games. And then for Mega Man 3, they found an artist who did 3, 4, 5, 6, and all 5 of the Game Boy titles, as well as the first few X artworks. And they are beautiful hand-painted pictures, and I absolutely love how they look. Hello, Foxy. Hello, Pufford. You can leave it, Casey. It's all good. It's amazing you survive in each round. You mean each stage?
That's what that was one of the ones that I was looking at and was gonna read to you, but didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, no, hello, Puff Adder? Sorry if I'm butchering your name. But welcome to the stream. I'm gonna try to do my best to make this as few deaths as I possibly can, at my current skill level. I didn't practice 5 or 6 leading up to today. I thought about doing it last night, and then decided, I don't wanna. Because every time I start 5, it usually becomes a whole ordeal where I'm bored halfway through. Here's the Choo Choo Mets. They are one of the best. They have a little train horn. If I leave them alive for just a second, you'll be able to hear the train, which is lovely. They have this nice effect where if you notice the sprite layers like Mega Man and the little mouse up there don't move any pixels, but the entire stage does, which is another neat thing the MMC5 mapper chip allowed for. So...
let's see here. Felipe says, Bike Helmet Mega Man lives in my dreams. It'd be kind of funny to see.
I mean, we saw Met Helmet Mega Man with, 7.
With, 7, yeah. Puffader says, you can just call me Puff.
Puff, cool. Well, welcome, Puff. We're gonna go use Rush Coil.
Oh yeah, Choo Choo Mets. Look at him go, says Felipe.
Choo Choo. So we're 1 letter away. So the only thing that Mega Man 5 I think has lacking compared to Mega Man 6 is that once you have beaten all of the bosses, I believe it forces you to go straight to the castle. You can't go back for any of the letters. So all of the letters are placed in such a way that you can get all of them on your first run through. Some have maybe noticed I'm using weapons a lot less in this game. And that has to do with the fact that most of them don't feel as useful as the fully charged shot. Especially Power Stone here. Power Stone needed some tweaks to get to be an actual good weapon. But it does hit for a good amount of damage. Here's Charge Man. Here's how you avoid his charging. Just stand kind of close, and he will never charge you. He will only ever walk. He will always do the first charge. He's invulnerable while he's charging. He's also invulnerable while... He's also invulnerable while hurling the hot coals into the air. But that's Charge Man.
So, let me see here. Oh, I think you can come back because I missed the beat letter on Stone Man and came back for it.
Oh, well then maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry about that if I am wrong.
Also, while you were talking earlier, I was gonna say, Gavin, given the roasts on Mega Man 5 weapons...
I can give the roast on the 5 weapons if you'd want.
You can if you want to. I was just being funny.
Hard,
the funny Dutchie.
Hard to hit with. Stupidly weak. Dangerous.
Okay. What about the,
Useful, but slow. Crystal Eye. Why not Charge Shot? Napalm Bomb. Damn, that's slow. Super Arrow. I can't think of anything for Super Arrow because it's really, really good. Gyro Attack. Magnet Missile's easier to use.
Did you ride on the Super Arrow?
Yeah, I can. I like the Super Arrow quite a lot. Oh, my only other gripe with... My gripe with Wave Man's weapon is it's too situational, because you can only use it on the ground. But I don't mind the 5 weapons. I think they can be pretty cool.
It can be. Sleepy says, will there be more Mega Man going upwards via bubbles in those games?
There is, in those games, in this one we will. As
now.
Yeah, right now. So this and Mega Man's for Game Gear are the ones that we'll have to do the bubble riding exercise. I messed that up there, so wasn't paying attention. We're making some really good time though, because since we're only at we're only at like 40 minutes. The riding bubble effect is really neat, and the small ones that pop when you stand on them is kind of cute.
Cuddly Kong says, do a flip!
Is a jump okay? I don't really have a way to do a flip. Oh, maybe we can show it off with Gravity Man's weapon in the Wily stages. Cause spoiler alert, Proto Man's not evil, and Dr. Wily is framing him to keep him out of his hair for stuff he did in Mega Man 4, so... Because Proto Man kind of chose his side after Mega Man 3, and his side was not with Wily. This is the hardest letter in the game to get. It's one that I shouldn't have saved for last, but it's okay. Because this section here is one of my favorite technical-wise. It just looks really cool. So on this rider, you can't charge shot. There is a trick with the Super Arrow to get to skip the little ride bike, but the gravity and physics here is really weird, and I don't trust myself to pull off that trick. You can't even pause it to get... You can't pause to get more, to use an E-Tank or anything in this section, because it won't allow you to switch weapons. It was their way to stop you from switching weapons. Because technically the weapons do work with the bike if you enable it. If you enable the pause here. I just can't pause because, you know, by default it doesn't work. But all the weapons act really weird.
What is this? Why is this being so difficult towards you?
No, just because it is. I'm not playing with confidence here, and that's... Part of that could be I didn't practice. Another part is, you know...
Chaos the Winged Cat says, "You will never surrender, evil, save the world."
Well, welcome. I'm confused, but okay. Hope you're having fun.
Not gonna lie, Stoneman's weapon can hit some janky spots on the screen.
It does. It does. So here's the neat section. Control was taken away from Mega Man for that one screen. That guy right there is meant to allow you to heal up, but, you know, I've got an E-Tank. And as you can see, we've got Beat there, but I don't want to use him. In fact, I don't want to die at all now that I've gotten the weapon. Because, yeah, some interesting stuff happens. Charge Kick is super useful. So I believe if you game over or die after you collect the beat letters, you won't get the weapon get beat screen. It'll completely skip over that portion when we get to the weapon select. Here's Waveman. He's a boss that showed up in Mega Man Fully Charged, but he's kind of a pushover. My favorite fact about him is that he has a pet alligator named Alligator.
Can you do it?
I named him Alligator. That is his voice, by the way. Absolutely adore it.
Fully charged up.
Fully Charged is so great. I love it. So here we got Water Wave. Oh, it just skips it anyways. Okay, never mind. Silly me. Here's the
great Mega Man Jet Ski Shuffle.
Here's the one time we get, yeah, really was. Here's the first time we get Proto Man in a stage select, and this really jank-looking castle that's clearly fake. And it's the only time we get Proto Man's icon like that. But it's not really Proto Man, so we shouldn't be comparing it to it. Here's one of the coolest stages ever. This theme right here for the Proto Man's castle is so good. Technically, this is Dark Man's castle. It was built specifically for Dark Man. Dark Man has multiple variants on themselves. And while I don't mind Dark Man's castle, I think it's a little snazzy. A little neat. So we're going to use Rush Jet here. If you hold back on Rush Jet, he actually moves slower. If you hold forward, he goes faster. Since Mega Man's locked in place, you don't have to worry about moving. That's going to be useful information to know for the games before this, as well as the lovely Game Boy games where it becomes a big hassle. I'm going to use Rush Jet there. Alright. Dark Man's Castle, I think, is one of the most interesting stages. It's also one that you can really mess up on. It's got this fun, you know, enemies flying overhead and rushing you. Honestly, I think the castle here is a lot of fun, but I don't think it's too challenging. I actually think this and Mega Man 3 are some of the easier castles to do. Especially the Dr. Wily portion of this castle, because 3's is kind of long. It's got a lot of bosses. I really don't like the hitbox on those guys.
Felipe asks, now where is this castle?
I have no idea. Okay, not going for it.
The same pocket dimension as Wily's.
Well, Wily's castle is generally situated outside of any known areas, so... Here's a fun cheat. since you can do some fancy stuff with Rush, you can always get around that. You don't even have to do that one. Even in the so in the Legacy Collection, they included challenges that you can do, and one of the challenges is all the Yoku block segments from all the first 6 games. So, but they can't not give you Rush Coil because you start with Rush Coil. So, you can completely skip that screen there, which is kind of great. Here's the first Darkman. Darkman is he's technically, I don't believe, a Robot Master. I believe the last one is. Okay, we'll take the death. Hello, Zenny. Welcome. Oh boy.
We just talk about how Darkman did a little dance there.
Yeah. He's a real jokester. He also hits really hard.
What is he? Val's grandparent? Great-grandparent?
I think he is literally just a normal robot, not a normal enemy bot. I don't think he actually is. I don't think he's intended to really have too much of a. Okay, jump.
He is out for blood.
Yeah, he is. Oh yeah, apparently there's a
Never seen...
complete work task. Well, actually, too. Well, neat, Drew. I didn't know that. Like the Mets, he has no soul.
Oh no, Mets have souls.
Or like the wall lasers from 2. Ah, the Boo Beam Trap. We'll get to the Boo Beam Trap. The Boo Beam Trap is why I'm playing this, the Legacy Collection, and not, going too overboard with it. I like this stage quite a bit. I've seen some really neat super arrow gimmicks with this. I could show off the super arrow, but I am saving it for a little later in the castle. Same with
items not get refilled in this.
So, in the castles, no. That's usually pretty standard. The weapons don't get refilled in the castles. But even that's a little inconsistent from game to game.
Foxino joined in and they say, hey yo.
Welcome, Foxino. Alright. That's a tricky section. Usually people use Rush Jet in there. I just love the complexity. It's an enemy that if you're standing on level ground with it, you have to slide under the shot. Or jump over it. Sliding is more fun. Sure, we'll get the more wave attack.
Joran has joined in. They say, hello, Gavin. Meet my new friend. Wait, you meet my new friends. That show is remarkable.
Okay.
Well, how was your guys' day? The only part I could get was, how was your guys' day?
I think they introduced somebody else new to the channel. Well, welcome. Glad you're here, Xavier.
Foxino asked.
I said I'm doing all right. My day's kind of sort of just starting out. I hope the chat's doing okay. I know after this we're doing Mega Man 6, and that one's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. But for 5 here, it really is just more of the same. They changed Rush Coil just for the funsies of it. You know, they were really bored in between.
Foxno says, what's this I hear about Proto Man X?
It's a bit of an inside gag. You'll understand it the minute we start playing Mega Man 6. Or I hope so, anyways. Because we got Proto Man as the villain here, and certain somebody as the villain in... So this one's either the Charge Kick... No, it's not that. Okay. I mean, that's doing more. This guy can't jump. He's got that little shield, which reflects shots back at you. He also likes to throw that shield at you. But he's more of a walk up to you, what you doing? Because he likes to walk into you. So, you gotta...
Do you have a burger?
You got burger? Got any games on
your phone?
Somebody draw a Dark Man with... Got any games on your phone? I want to see that.
Way ahead of you, bud.
Mega Man 6 is Scooby-Doo level disguise. No concept of personal space. Yeah, but... I could also go into a couple more interesting little fun tidbits. So Crystal Man, actually, he creates synthetic crystals. They are not expensive, in the slightest, but he produces them so accurately that it can often fool jewelers or people into buying fake gemstones at a high price, which is part of the reason Dr. Wily has so much money for his schemes, because Crystal Man was developed... Crystal Man, Stone Man, and I think Napalm Man were all built by Wily. Because some of these guys were actually taken. Like Gravity Man is actually works at the Gravity Institute. He's built for, you know, experimental gravity technology for spaceflight as well as on-Earth practical uses. More of understanding and proving the theory of gravity. Which, fun fact, everybody. Did you know that the word theory means something different in the scientific community than it does in practical use? It technically means best understanding to our thought, to our current, best understand. Yes, words, not working for me. We have, so we have more Rush Coil. No more Rush Coil. That's okay. We got Super Arrow. It's our best friend. It'll never run out. I'm kidding. It'll definitely run out, but still. Got these nice snake block effect here. Fun fact, this is using part of the coding for the Yoku blocks. But now we're stranded over here. Whatever shall we do? Oh wait, no we're not. In fact, we'll beat the snake block. Oh, if we do that method, we can beat the snake blocks to the end.
Zenny says, words hard. Theory means something different for science, reality, and games.
I know.
According to Felipe.
That is very true. Which is really interesting to me. I just thought that was something fascinating. Anyways, so we got that guy there. These enemies are brought back in Mega Man 11. You can actually stand on their shields in that game. Although I don't believe I actually showed that off, because there's not really any practical purpose to it. Just kind of a neat detail that when they raise their shield, you can stand on them. You can't do that here, which is a shame. I think I've done enough damage. I'm going to show off Gravity Hold. There we go. And that's Gravity Hold.
Oh my goodness. Boy, went wee.
My controller died. Don't worry. I've got an extra. If chat has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. Casey, if you've got any as well.
I do. I actually have 3.
Perfect.
What are your favorite Robot Masters built by Light, Cossack, and Wily? One of each.
Okay. Well, seeing as I don't know who built most of the bots in 6, I'd say Cossack for Tundra Man. I really like the design of Galaxy Man from Dr. Light. And something about Quick Man is just great. He's just a good design.
I won't lie to you, those are really good choices.
So here's a fun one. The Charge Kick is our go-to weapon here. As you can see, he's got kind of a blind spot.
I see why they said Vile's great-grandfather now.
Okay, and now we have accessed the Charge Kick. Charge Kick lets us be invincible. If we get stunned like that, that hitbox is active. So it doesn't run out until afterwards. So, believe it or not, it can actually be the smart choice to just wait out an attack like that. Charge Kick into it. Not the fastest kill method, but it's fun to show off. I actually believe his weakness is Gyro Man's weapon? Yeah. Gyro Man's weapon, you can control up or down movements, which is nice, not overly helpful, because you have to use the up and down buttons to use that, so good luck if you needed to slide somewhere. You know what, I'll take the death. I will take the death there. We're coming really close to the end of the game. The Wily Castle does not have very many stages. Darkman's Castle really is where most of the challenge is going to come in.
Felipe says, Mega Man, that bot had a family and now he's falling forever. We're talking about the one you used the gravity hold on.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. He was gonna hurt.
Turn back now.
He was gonna hurt humans, so it's okay. There we go. I used up way more weapon energy than I wanted to for all of those, for that entire stage, so it's alright though. Never be worried with your weapon usage in 5. The mystery tank solves everything. Okay, wouldn't guy.
Oh, he wouldn't. Guy was just jumping.
So here's another fun thing that the MMC5 mapper chip allowed for. The scrolling backgrounds that increase in speed based on how many of the blocks were actually destroyed. You can do some wacky stuff. It messes with gravity. And once it's at the top, you're at the top. And now we have some more story. Yeah, Proto Man, you better get that whistle fixed. And where's your scarf? That was hurtful. Luckily, he only had one of those shots in him. And here's the real Proto Man. That's a life tank. We never see that ever again. But that's a-okay. Then we call in Beat. And let Beat do the work. This is the fight that Beat was intended for. Okay. Anyways, my awkward deaths aside here, Darkman really does hit like a truck. If we both die, I would have to redo this section.
Did you slide under his shots?
It's just...
Jump over the first one and then...
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
No, well, we did it. We got it.
Yay!
Go ahead and read out the chat for a bit while Dr. Wily reveals that his Proto Man has spoiled his plan.
Joran asks, what's your favorite boss and favorite hero in Megaman?
Axel is probably my favorite hero. I just like him quite a lot. My favorite boss? I really don't know. I couldn't say. Because there's a lot of really good fights. And just like that, we found Dr. Wily's castle.
Wily really likes that capsule a lot. It's the same every game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not from one. The first one blew up.
Okay, fair enough.
So, here's one of the evilest traps ever. You had to pick a direction, left or right, Casey.
Right.
We're gonna jump left, because that'll always kill you on the right. And then you have to get really far to the right, or else Spike... This is the evilest part of the stage, honestly. But the music here is quite nice. I wish there was more remixes of it, because it's a very nice melody to it. It's got a bit of a somber edge to it, which is kind of interesting for a Wily stage. Some of you might have noticed that I used Legacy Collection artwork for the thumbnails. That'll be a thing going forward. For all of the main numbered entries, I went with Legacy Collection artwork, and for the Game Boy titles, I went with their respective painted box arts. So, look forward to that, especially because we got some really high scans of those. Go for it.
Felipe says funny Dr. Wily prank.
Yeah, funny. It's called Taking Over the World. Because you're mad some dude once took some credits for some robots. Alright. I am tempted. I think I'm just gonna take the... So... ordinarily, I would use Rush Jet in this section. We don't have enough Rush Jet to make it through this segment, and we're going to need Rush Jet later. Mega Man 5 really does reuse a lot of gimmicks and sprites from Mega Man 4, and does them in their own unique way. And you're going to see that right here. So we had those moving platforms, and now the Dust Crusher. Luckily, this collection allows for Rapid Fire. And Rapid Fire is my favorite way to get rid of all of these blocks. Believe it or not, this actually has the exact same programming as copied and pasted directly from Dustman stage. Almost like they had more ideas for 4, threw some of them in there for 5, and then struggled to come up with new ideas to help improve the gameplay further.
It was really close.
Yep. Luckily, there we go. And don't worry, folks, we will be doing 6 right afterwards. Really hoping for
Felipe asked, can you...
Oop, go for it.
Felipe asked, can you really blame Dr. Wily for getting mad? I mean, the same thing happened to Dubious in Battle Network, Star Force.
Yeah. Well, Tom Dubious also didn't really, Tom Dubious also didn't let anybody know about his stuff. And they were
True.
And they were planning to give Tom Dubious all the credit for the jetpack. Tom just wasn't there to listen. Here's the good boss. This is Big Pets. He's glitched on me before. So that bug that you think would be from a dirty NES cartridge, the Angry Video Game Nerd did a whole segment where he showed off that he actually had proof that the platforms don't move sometimes when you hit them. I'm here to tell you guys that that's not just a bug on the NES game. I got that bug in the Anniversary Collection. So, something about the sprite flickering and too many enemies being on screen, or too many objects on screen, messes with this boss. But I couldn't tell you what it is. Something just didn't load right. But that's that. We're moving on to the next stage. Big Pets is down.
Jaru says they're leaving. It was nice being here, and they'll see you again soon.
Well, nice to see you. I hope you can come back around to finish washing up 6. So. And here's the next
boss
stage.
says Felipe.
Invisiboss, yeah. It is certainly a sneaky invisible boss, I'll say that much. Alright, now we've got an underwater segment, a free E-Tank, which is free regardless, because you can literally jump up that high. Some fun stuff with the backgrounds. These are supposed to be valves to tighten it. And as you can see, they're in, pretty direct spots. Oh boy. Right through there, take that. Scuba Mets that jump and do their swim, but they don't really chase after you. Once again, another reuse of an enemy. I do like that these kinds have yellow flippers too.
It's really cute.
The ones we saw in 7 and I think 4 both have green flippers. So, if you want, the Snorkel Mets can actually have 2 different variants.
Well, it's more of a color change, but...
Eh. Works a little differently because the green flippers go for you. The yellow flippers just go up and down. Luckily, the stage is pretty forgiving with item placements and checkpoint placements, so...
Felipe says new Met since they don't go forward and have different colors. Alright, the different colors doesn't count, but their functionality does. So I'm gonna have one labeled as the Snorkel Met and the other labeled Scuba.
Ah, look at this.
What happened?
So you have to hold back and up, or use the super arrow.
Oh, when you said that, I thought a platform that's supposed to be there was despawned.
Nope. Although we are kind of low on health, yeah, I'll use an E-Tank. Why not?
Cannot convince me otherwise that that is not a big eye, just reskinned.
Now then, we saw something very similar to this guy show up in the last game. Or in Mega Man 11. Where he was using the power gear and a new laser attack. You can't convince me that Mallwire is not the same thing as this guy. Just too similar. His weakness is gyro attack, so it can be quite helpful to have full gyro attack when you get to him. His cage is only a bit of a suggestion. The doors are supposed to stop you from hitting him.
I tried searching up this boss to see if I could find it, and I couldn't.
Yeah, the easiest way to do it is just look up Wily Castle, Mega Man 5, and just look at the bosses from the wiki, and you should be able to find it. But, that's that. On to the next. It's starting to get really dark out, and it's starting to make me very nervous. But as you can see, I was a bit liberal with my E-Tank uses in that fight. But that's okay, because we've got Super Arrow and a free E-Tank up here. Huh, it's almost like it's, you know, placed for newcomers. It's almost like they want you to waste all your rush just so you can get more use out of the Super Arrow. Just a little weird to me, personally. The end is nigh. Actually, we're only about halfway in. So, first up here is Gravity Man. His weakness is Star Crash. The reason is because in space, there really is no gravity. So, plus starfishes are known to have some of the strongest suction to the point where even in space they are still able to grip the surface of objects, even without gravity. So, there's a neat factoid for you.
Yeah, we're getting hit by a storm, that's what it is.
Well, yeah, but it's also kind of a danger. Last night, it was very relaxing, except for the thunder. The neighbor's dog and kid were freaking out about the thunder, and I could hear them screaming and barking, respectively.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I thought it woke somebody up in our household, and I got a little worried. I was like, oh no, people aren't going to be able to sleep. But it's alright. The reason that Stone Man is his Charge Man's weakness is because you don't want to boulder on the train. Here, the Crystal Eye plugs up the the top, and since it's a very strong material, the explosion for Napalm Man essentially happens all within his head. Easy win. Easy win. I don't like the room layout for the capsules in this one. Something about it. Generally, I'd be able to use gravity hold here. However, we don't have gravity hold. So I'm going to show you guys how you fight him normally. You want him to throw that on the ground as much as possible. And just like that, easy peasy. Of course, under odd gravity, helicopters don't really work, so figuring out which way's up and which way's down in a helicopter can be fancy, especially if you're doing like weird flips and stuff. And it's not recommended, so that's where that weakness comes from. I still can't figure out Charge, Kick, and Wave Man. I'm thinking like a Karate Kid reference, like Kick the Ocean, but I got nothing. Stone Man, it's like a wall. You know, just use napalm. Use the bomb on the wall. Doy. As you can see, Stone Man is completely invincible in his fallen state.
A diver would probably die if it was hit by a train.
Yeah.
That's Felipe's guess.
Here, instead of stars, we're going with sea stars, so the water's the weakness of the starfish, because starfish often like to... Starfish don't mind being underwater, but if a starfish is hit with enough water, it'll become delirious and kind of drift off in the ocean. Or if it doesn't reattach itself to a surface, it could die. And then we gyro attack for this because you use a blade-like rudder to break open crystals without damaging them too much. And that's the weakness order explained. Man, I really can't wait till we get to 6, because I have run out of stuff to talk about with 5. It's a game. I know John at the D-pad says it's his favorite of the NES games, due to sheer nostalgia.
I think that's fair.
I don't have anything against 5. Like, I own a physical copy of 5. I own it on the PlayStation. Of course, I have the Legacy Collection.
We got somebody in chat named Dark Flames, and they ask, "Yo, will you play X? And how do you feel about the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection coming out on the 14th?"
Okay, so yes, we will be playing X. I am very excited for the Battle Network Collection. And I did a full series retrospective called The Ultimate Guide to Mega Man, where you can hear more of my thoughts on each individual title. There's 2 parts out. I did the entirety of the Battle Network series and Classic Legends X, Zero, ZX, and all in one video, every single game. But we'll be playing X probably sometime next month. But, yeah, I'm super stoked for the Battle Network Legacy Collection. I'll be doing a stream on that. Next week, we're doing 5 and 4 for Game Boy, so... But,
let's see here. The fact that starfish are living beings still messes with me.
That is fair.
Says Felipe.
That is very fair. And we're one hit away.
Dark Flame says, "Believe word. I will go back. Oh, word. I will go. Look, I'm super happy about it."
Well, awesome, Dark Flame. Thank you so much. I'd say stick around, subscribe, enjoy the stream for now, because we're doing 6 right after this. So yeah. We're just going to be finishing up 5 here today. But I timed out everything so that way then we finish the Wily Wars the day right before the collection comes out. Or like 2 days right before the collection comes out, and then we do the Battle Network video. So, here's a little something for you. What do you get when the game is well designed, but you really have no ideas? More of the same. This boss fight isn't really too bad, but we do want to use the M-Tank eventually. This first part's weakness is actually the super arrow, but we're just gonna hit it with my buster.
Felipe says guts, man. It's fair. That's honestly really funny.
And from that, Dr. Wily just comes right back. And you'd think, alright, use the M-Tank here. And this is a great spot for it. I've still got 2 more E-Tanks and 8 lives, so we're good to go. If I wouldn't have taken that death, we would have had 9 lives. So since all of the Mega Man 5 music is composed with the backbeat in mind, showcasing that, the tracks actually work really well when you take out the main melody. So, I'd love to hear, like, just, they do the bass and the drum riffs, and just, that's it for these tracks, and then the melody falls into the background. I think that'd be really cool. Here's a fun trick with Beat, where if you get him out in the right time, he actually hunts down Wily in the darkness, because his eyes are actually built with X-ray scanners. So, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Beat literally does most of the work. This is, I think, the 2nd time the Wily capsule has ever been used. Which is just lovely.
In main game or all in general?
Like what?
Said in, like, the main series or in general?
In terms of Beat being cool or the music?
Wily capsule being used.
Wily capsule being used. This is like in terms of the main games, this was the first one to use the capsule.
Okay. Because I was like...
Or second one to use the capsule. Four had it first, but...
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, wasn't that, like, part of the main escape that Wily does in the Power Fighters games?
Yeah, but that came out after this game.
That's true.
And that's that. That's Mega Man 5 complete. We're going to be moving on to Mega Man 6 once the credits are done rolling.
Dark Flame says they're already subbed.
Awesome.
Felipe says, did they say Battle Network will have rollback?
They did say Battle Network will have rollback, if I remember correctly. But now we're able to save Dr. Light. However, Dr. Wily's little trick here. He escapes. Mega Man needs to hold the ceiling down. In order to stall and give them enough time to make it out, Proto Man blows up part of the wall. And you can see him down there in the bottom right-hand corner. Just kind of eavesdropping.
Then he just dips.
Yep. Cementing that Proto Man is actually on your side, even if he is a little bit of an antagonist. Which is nice. Not really the hero of the story, but, you know, he's there when you need him. But I like 5, not enough to really call it my favorite, but I like it. I think it's a good entry point for somebody. Not the best entry point, of course, because I think 11 and 10 do much better jobs at it. But 5 is not awful. If you're still craving Mega Man after you've played, 11 and 10, 5's not a bad next step. I do think 7 or 6 are a little more fun in terms of secrets, especially since by the time 6 came out, they really had an idea for what they wanted to do. You can tell that this game is well put together, but not, it's well put together, it's well polished. It's a bit more polished than Mario 3, in my honest opinion. And I think most of that comes down to the chipset used in the cartridge.
That's fair. Apparently, Felipe can't believe that Gravity Man was on the design team.
Yes, because they put the the Robot Masters in between some of the text. Credits here are very nice. I love the parallax scrolling with the little stars in the background. It kind of looks great. Good game overall. Not my favorite, not my least favorite. And that's okay. Still good and worth your time. Speaking of worth your time, 6 is going to be very interesting. I have a lot of facts to say, and I think a short amount of time to do it.
I think that's why you weren't really so vocal during this gameplay of 5, because you know much more about 6 and have a lot more experience with 6 than you do of 5.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I also just think 5 in general, its development history just isn't really too much to write home about. Like, they had new chips and stuff, but they were so proficient at working on the NES that it just doesn't matter.
That's fair.
But that was Mega Man 5. Its only main contribution is setting Proto Man on the right track and also giving us Beat. So
Later Tango.
Let's move into Mega Man 6. So, in the year 20XX, the first ever annual robot tournament is held. We're down to the top 8 when the mysterious sponsor of this tournament gives an announcement to the tournament goers. I, Mr. X, have been pulling the strings behind Wily, and has now found his magnum opus, the 8 strongest bosses in the world. Mega Man could try to stop us, but he's gonna try to win. So, there you go, Mr. X. We have that fun effect with the logo here. This came out in the... I believe it had a disc system version originally, but I actually own the cartridge variant of, but I'm not entirely sure there. But 6 is where their polish really shines. They knew they wanted to tell a story, which was very, very nice. So all of these bosses hail from around the world. Flame Man here is from India / the Middle East, and we have lots of enemies that are going to be shooting fire and oil. So be on the lookout here. All of the bosses were sent out across the world, and to go along with that theming, they wanted to have the bosses be designed from all across the world. So this was the first time they opened up the design tournaments, the design contests for the bosses outside of Japan. So Mega Man 6 has 2 designers from North America, one from the USA and one from Canada. We'll get to them when we get to them, but Flame Man here was designed in Japan. 6 was also the first Mega Man game I ever played when I was, literally just starting to understand what this is and what the NES was. My dad owned this game growing up because, you know, Nintendo, you know, published the game, so the price for the game was actually cheaper than 5. There was more copies of it to go around. And, yeah, no, I couldn't beat any stages back then. So if you're having issues with beaten levels, do not fear, don't fret. That's just how the game goes. Here we've got a smoother charge shot. I think it's... I don't believe it's the exact same sprite for Mega Man 5, but it's very similar. And now we get the Flayman's fight. Casey, if you want to go ahead and talk for a bit, ask some questions, read the chat, that's down. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay, so you're... there's... Okay. Felipe thanked Inafune for 5.
I thank the whole team. Especially since most of the team from 5 is actually still working at Capcom.
Dang. Can't wait for Mighty 2. And they said, ooh, problematic bot.
I mean, he's not that problematic, because this game was made in the mid-90s, so... There's not that much of a problem with it. Especially because it does pull from all around the world, so... But from there, we get the Rush Power Adapter, which is completely new. The Rush Power Adapter is really, really useful in this game, and we're going to use it when we go up against Nightman here. This is the stage I first picked when I first played the game, and I got really good at this stage and the boss fight in general. So I'm gonna try to show off the really cool stuff. As you can see, there's this block down here. Normally we'd be like pick it up with Guts block or something. This time we use the power adapter, and here's how this works. Power Rockman. We have a half charge meter. Charge up all the way, and a short-range punch that's super powerful. We also have this short-ranged beam punch that isn't quite as powerful as the fully charged shot, but it's not bad. And it's going to help us get rid of really problematic enemies later on in the stages. Here's the room that always killed me. Those spikes are instant death. But you can just kind of keep sliding past it. So Casey, do you have any questions about the game?
None so far. Because I do have a more greater understanding about this game over 5. Because well, I've seen you play this game before, and I've researched a couple of Mega Man titles, and on top of that, I also watched the first Mega Man lore video. I'm pretty well informed about 6. 5 never really stuck out to me too much. Aside from, you know, Proto Man, the bad guy, question mark.
Mm-hmm. So, Nightman here hails from Europe, however, his design actually came in from an American. And I believe it was Windman was designed by a Canadian.
That's pretty interesting.
The entrant who put in for... The person who put in the entry for Nightman put in so many entries, he could have filled 103 Mega Man games.
Wow.
They were that desperate to get in that they put in that many designs. But down here is where we're going to find our first secret. You can also fight the boss to the right, but I suggest ignoring that decoy and coming down here. Just a suggestion. Oh boy. So here's the fight against Nightman. He can be a very challenging opponent because of his shield and his range, but he is really, really fun to fight.
That's a dedication to win, says Foxino.
So one of my favorite changes from the Archie comics is that there's actually a character called Xander Payne, spelled with an X. He is part of the Emerald Spears, which is a reference to the Ruby Spears cartoon. And in that, he ends up time traveling and ends up in the past. And because of his photographic memory, he was able to memorize lottery numbers and horse bet racing. And essentially got so rich that by the time that he had looped back around to present day, which was just before Mega Man 3, he's just so rich that he can basically do whatever he wants and stay in the shadows. He also begins to lose his hair and get older and begins to look a lot like Dr. Wily. He even gets more robot enhancements than just his eye, which Elecman accidentally took out in Mega Man 1. To go along with that, though, what they were planning to do, what I can surmise from the artwork, they were planning on sending Xander Payne to the future and leaving him stranded in the X's era, while Dr. Wily used Mr. X's fortune and disguise to claim all the money and, you know, run this terrible tournament. But, it's my headcanon that Xander Payne is the whole reason Mega Man 4 and 5 and 6 are able to happen in the first place. But Wily was always planning to usurp because of Crystal Man selling the gems. Just a thought. Just a fun thought. We're gonna go after Blizzard Man here. He hails from Canada. Felipe says, and also a reference to Britney. No, it was not a reference to Britney Spears. The Ruby Spears cartoon is the reason that they were called the Emerald Spears. Ruby Spears was a duo of animators who pitched Scooby-Doo originally, and later on made their own company called, you know, Ruby Spears, because there were two of them. And they made the hit Mega Man cartoon. And if it weren't for some toy lines being canceled, they actually would have made Season 3 of the Mega Man cartoon.
I mean, was that such a bad thing?
No, I actually think that would have been really good, because they actually had a slightly higher budget going into the end of Season 2. You can really tell with the darker shading and the more serious plot lines, the animation quality upping itself. I just wish it would have happened sooner, so more people could have been interested in the series. I do know that the show itself, though, was a massive hit with kids. And it came out around the same time as Mega Man 6.
Huh.
Some people saw the Mr. X disguise as a sort of jab at Mega Man X, because X was the new hot thing on the Super Nintendo. And it was clear that they wanted their focus to go to X in terms of storyline and potential. But that's about all I can say so far. Man, I am really, really hungry.
Me too.
Yeah, like, really, really hungry.
Karmic, hello!
He says...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and read that out.
Karmic, it's good to see you. He asks, how's the game so far?
Game's good. We are now on Mega Man 6. We finished up 5. It looks like we're going to be going over by about a half hour. But it'll be alright. After this, I think I'm going to get myself some food.
You think we should talk about the pilot that Ruby Spears initially put out compared to the final product?
I think I should. So, I am making part 3 of the Ultimate Guide of Megaman, but here's the rundown. Megaman had an OVA in Japan, and it was an educational OVA where they were meant to teach kids about the history of Japan. Mostly with its culture, what sports they like, the food, you know, just interesting factoids in general. This animation had an art style very similar to the games, especially the Japanese artwork. Ruby Spears' original pitch used that same art style, which, if used, would have been the most game-accurate art style used in a video game cartoon other than Sonic the Hedgehog.
Because I believe Sonic the Hedgehog was based off of the North American art.
Yes. However, they would have
rather than the Japanese art.
They would have based it on the Japanese artwork, which would have given it a very anime style, and it would have beat Dragon Ball to air by, I think, 3 months.
Yeah, it would have.
And
now
it would have.
It definitely would have.
And it would have actually aired right before Dragon Ball. So it could have been an anime block with one of them just being more anime-esque. However, they didn't think it would sell, so they forced Rock to be aged up. They forced the animators to draw them more manly. Whatever that means.
More human accurate.
More human, you know, anatomy-esque. But I think that we really missed something with that little pilot there. You can still find it on YouTube. People have done high-res upscales of it. Okay, so I think we're gonna show off Plant Man next. Yeah, we'll go Plant Man next. I've kind of broken out of the weakness change. Looks like we've got somebody new in chat.
Let's see here. Maokai. Dang it. Did I miss 7? Sorry. All the same, thanks for streaming more Mega Man. Love it.
Okay, yes, welcome. Yes, you did miss 7. Mega Man 7 stream was earlier this week. However, it is still up on YouTube. YouTube doesn't take down streams, so if you go to the live tab on the channel page, you can see our entire commentary of that. We just finished up Mega Man 5, and now we're in 6, and we're about halfway done here.
Felipe says super fighting robot.
That theme is still a bop. I really
jokes.
The Megas have a really good cover of that, where they do all of the explosion sounds that appear in the opening, but they do them with their mouths, and it's hilarious.
Let's be real. The Megas are just goats.
They
just
really
pure goats.
They really are. Flame Man's weapon here will take these apes down in no time. You can shoot their fist to make them move backwards. I didn't originally know that. But, yeah. Flame Man's weapon isn't super useful, but it's really fun to fling around places, because it stays up for just a second. These bouncy springs, it's teaching you that they will always bounce you, but they will never bounce you high enough to hit those spikes. So, kind of gotta keep on your toes. Here's the second ape here. I'm gonna show you what happens when you use Turbo. He goes down in 2 presses.
Gavin, I got a really interesting question for you.
What's up?
What's your favorite line from Ruby Spears?
A part of me wants to say, but who would line the outside? Who would bar the outside of a bathroom door? Just because it's just that stupid. But I think I have to. I think I have to give it to. But can a madman do this? And then laughter. Just because that is so funny to me.
I won't blame you for those. Those are really hilarious. I'm torn between oh no, he's gonna blast President Lincoln! That whole bit. Now I got your power, and then Pharaoh Man just decks him.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I cannot wait to make that video because Karmic is gonna have to sit down and actually hear me ramble about the cartoons for a while. My favorite lines.
Up too much.
My favorite lines in the Fully Charged series have to be "I do not care for the soup." Next activity, from Iceman, because that was just absolutely stupid and I loved it. Oh dang it, I'm blanking on the other line now. There's a lot of really good lines in Fully Charged. Oh, why not Blue Streak? I think that one's taken.
Oh my gosh, that's a reference to the Blue Blur.
Yeah, because they had most of the same animators who worked on Sonic Boom.
It's pretty cool.
So, you know, they also...
I think
Anyways, yours. Go for it.
I was gonna say my favorite line would probably be a pet alligator named Alligator.
That one's a good one. So, up until this point, I've done Weakness Order except for Nightman, and now we're gonna go to Tomahawk Man. Tomahawk Man used to be my favorite boss until Tundra Man, but he still ranks really high up there, and he has one of my favorite factoids in the entire Mega Man series. But he's themed after the Old West. Tomahawk Man was built specifically for this contest, and after that, his purpose would have been helping to negotiate peace between native tribes in North America. You know. Because there is actually more than one, you know, Native American reserve and all of that. So.
I find it funny that there's some people who think there's only one type of tribe.
Nope. There are definitely multiple still around.
No, why'd you destroy it so quickly?
That is a Met dispenser. They will dispense different types of Mets.
We're just little babies. Dare you?
What's the chat saying so far? Anything new, or?
Karmic says, I have a funny idea for a joke. Play Mega Man 0 after Mega Man 1.
Ha ha ha. They won't know what's going on. So here's Jet Mega Man. For this mode, we remove the charge shot function of our Buster. However, we now have this snazzy jet. The meter's a little bit bigger than Mega Man, the power adapter. And it automatically refills when you're on the land. But essentially, we're using Rush's thrusters to keep us airborne. Then we can do really neat tricks because it dips. It's not like a perfect straight straight 45-degree angle like it was in, like the Super Adapter is. So, you get a lot of really fun control with this. And we're going to be seeing that to, we're going to be seeing it in a bit. But we actually need to take a detour here.
Mega Man really gives me Ladybug vibes when he's flying, because it looks like the wings, the shield of the wings going up, and then the actual wings flapping, much like a beetle.
I could see it, even though those are jet engines. But yeah,
it's fair. But you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see it.
There you go. Now you can see it. Let's see here. Felipe says a reference to Sonic the Bionic. He's T-Hawk descendant.
Okay. Actually, I think, honestly, in terms of... So, to skip over that next question, that one thing there, I honestly think that Tomahawk Man is just a really cool boss in general. I just really like his design. But here we have the energy balancer. The first time it appears, Proto Man drops it off for you. After that, you want to take Jet Mega Man and just head back to the right and down. Now, normally we go up to beat the boss, but there's actually a secret over there to the right. But I actually really think Tomahawk Man is actually incredibly respectful in a matter of ways. to Native American culture. He's dressed for war because he is meant for combat. In fact, the headdress he wears is intended for a war headdress. It's not intended for a peacetime or a ceremonial headdress, which is rather interesting. Now, what they had to keep a fight in to make it, satisfying to beat the final stage. But believe it or not, Plant Man is his weakness because oftentimes to end a war in time to make for time of peace, native tribes would offer each other flowers. So what we're doing is Plant Barrier summons flowers from the ground to surround Megaman. They don't come from the Buster. So what we're doing is actually offering Tomahawk Man peace. So in terms of lore, Tomahawk Man is the one fight Mega Man actually doesn't beat the boss. Tomahawk Man accepts the peace off. Well, Tomahawk Man takes the peace offering and is happily reprogrammed back to normal. Because Tomahawk Man doesn't want to fight Mega Man. So there you go.
Lupa says, sadly they never made a candy in the shape of a Met, because that looks like a Met gumball machine.
I can see it.
If they ever made a Met candy, I would probably buy like 50 of them.
Oh, I'd have them instantly. Looks like we've got somebody new in chat.
Let's see here. Curiosity says, yo, hope everyone's having a good day. And they were talking about, they reacted to what you said about Tomahawk's supposed weakness in this game, and says that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you might not catch that first glance. I looked most of that up, and when I learned about it, I was like, holy shit, they tried to be as accurate and respectful as possible with these bosses. Which I think is just fantastic. So, here we go, we're at Yamato Man stage. For Battle Network, you might have seen this boss and not realized it. Yamato means Japan. And he's based in the ways of most of Japan's combat techniques through, like, ninjas and some samurai techniques, oftentimes honor, and spears. So we're going to see a lot of nifty techniques. This whole stage is based off of Japanese ninja house, which has traps and secrets all over the place. This one I learned from the Gaijin Goomba. Believe it or not, he is very... this one is another one that is very respectful to the culture, which is great, especially seeing as what they could have gone with when it came to stuff like this. Because there was... if you ever played Punch-Out! Punch-Out on NES is very disrespectful to characters like E. Honda. So, granted, at least there they mock everybody. But Mega Man 6 was very clear in its attempt to honor every culture they came across. Which is very nice. There's a one...
I mean, Mega Man is...
Oh, this enemy right here doesn't appear anywhere else in this game. I just wanted to show him off.
Spring enemy?
Go...
Might be behind.
You might be a little bit, yeah. Looks like we've got another thing in the chat.
Oh, so Space Battleship, Yamato is just, Space Battleship Japan.
Yep! That is exactly right. Now, the developers for this game were being very cheeky when they chose weaknesses. The American bot beats Japan's bot.
Dead.
They thought they were
Deceased.
They thought they were being cheeky with it. And you can really tell. And I think it's just kind of a cheeky thing. Neat reference, little cheeky. Doesn't ruin it for me. Yamato Spear is a super useful weapon, though. What'd you say? Sorry.
It said falls on my birthday. Which is also the same number as this game, which is also even more spooky.
Ooh, just starts playing the Doctor Who theme. And here we have Centaur Man. Here's a fun fact for you. Centaur Man in one of the mangas is actually a female in disguise. This has never been confirmed as true. However, I do like to believe that Centaur Man, regardless of being a man or a woman, would absolutely have a crush on Nightman. I think that's a really cute thing to do. Especially because their weakness is Nightman's, and there's not really any good reason for the Europe boss to beat Greece. Or Rome, for that matter. So I like to make I like to kind of make a... The reference is, they see you beat Nightman and are strucken with grief. And that's my headcanon for it. Anyways.
I'm not gonna lie, this stage is giving me a lot of Atlantis vibes.
It's meant to. It's meant to, you know, give you that vibe of, like, ancient sunken culture. Because, you know, Greece is mostly on the water. Mostly.
That I didn't know.
Yeah, they've got a lot of port cities.
That's how uneducated I am. Videosity says that's one headcanon. That's a cute headcanon, though.
It is. It is. I couldn't see it changing too much, so, you know. So these guys, beforehand, I saw them in Flame Man stage. They can only be beaten with a charge shot, but the punching bot, since the charge up speed is actually faster than your normal Buster, you can beat him a lot faster.
You shot Eddie.
It's okay. He's okay.
You scarred him, see? He was stunned for like 5 seconds.
Maybe next time you should give me an E-tank or something.
Dang.
I'm kidding.
Being I know that he always gives you weapon energy, but dang, at least he's trying to help.
Yeah, I like Eddie. So, even if I don't use him a whole lot in these games. So here's the secret. There's 2 different boss fights here. One underneath one screen down, one screen above, and the one above is the real one here. So what we've been spelling out is beat. Unlike Mega Man 5, beat can't be used on bosses, but he is useful in the stages, so I do like to show him off. To go along with that, though, before we, you know, go to Windman and finish stuff up, I would like to show off the real attention to detail they showed in this game. So, one, there's a lot of respect to multiple different cultures, any cultures that were represented. They showed off in some very positive lights. But they also went through the effort of showing different times of day depending on when you fight the boss. Zenny says their back was trying a new game and it crashed. That's a shame. Well, I'm glad you're...
So sorry to hear that.
Sorry about your game, but I'm glad you're back. So now we have Beat, as well as Centaur Flash, which is like a better gravity hold. So, to start out here, Casey, will you pick one of the letters to go after again?
Okay. We'll go with A.
A is fine with me. So as you remember, the castle, it was green, right? And it was at sunset.
Yeah.
Well, now it's later in the evening, we have dark storm clouds, and we have a golden hue as if the sun is setting.
Whoa.
Now, I don't have the exit utility. And I don't really feel like dying all over the place. So we're actually just going to rewind and pick a different stage.
Dang, okay, I see you.
So go ahead and pick the next one to show off here. We got B-E-T.
Tomahawk.
So you remember that was at, you know, it was kind of at a good time of day. We had a nice evening. And now when you go in, it's closer to night. And you can really see the canyon's pink rocks.
Ooh.
I really do like the way that they handled this. All of the stages have this, by the way, whether they have the letters or not. So if you've beaten a boss and think you missed something or just want to see what the stage is like again, don't be scared to click on them, go back in, and check them out. Because they got all sorts of cool, like, graphical effects with these. Even if they're not super, like, noticeable. So if you need to backtrack, it gives a sort of freshness to the stage. But let's go after Windman here. And I'll do my one other shill out. If you guys, any viewers today, could drop some likes and subscribe, that would be fantastic. Because I plan on going over the entire Mega Man series, and it is a big motivator when these videos do well. So please, show the video some love. Show the stream some love. We are on now the China boss. The boss from China. Windman. Anyways.
Disciple says, I love Mega Man 6 music.
6 has some fantastic music, and if you've never heard of the Complete Works variant, the soundtrack there is phenomenal. The only reason I can't really play that on stream is actually because the credits track is Roll's theme. Roll's theme has lyrics, and that track is not owned directly by Capcom, so I will get a copyright claim if I play that the Complete Works variant. But it is worth a check out, especially for the remixed music. Of course, you can't slide with Jet or Power, so you gotta switch back to the regular. Of course, you can always skip the transformation sequence once you're in that little menu. So Casey, what do you think about Mega Man 6?
I like it. I really love how it... Oh, okay, so Mega Man is known to travel across the country, then eventually the world in just a few short games, but I like how this one is just like... We're taking that concept of world travel and stepping it up a notch with, like, culturally influenced stages.
And enemies.
It's just... Oh, and enemies as well.
It's
just
so...
Mwah. It's awesome.
We don't really see something like this again, and this for the longest time was my first and favorite Mega Man game, just because of all of the all it showcases and all of the cool changes it does. So I didn't show off what happens when you switch from Jet to Power or vice versa. Rush does that, and you go right back into the next. We'll be skipping that transformation sequence from here on out. But it is cool to show off. And now we're going to get a hold of Centaur Flash and just go for it. Seems like we've got some new messages in chat if you want to read them out, Casey.
Alright. Says, dude, Complete Works is amazing. I believe you can even unlock Complete Works version in the PS2 Anniversary Collection?
No. No, you can't. So, everybody references the Anniversary Collection. I don't know what's been going on lately. The Anniversary Collection has input lag. Doesn't matter whether it's PS2, GameCube, or Xbox. They used the Complete Works versions for those ports, and they messed up every single one of them. In the PS2, there is an audio bug where the music will raise really, really loudly at some points, and some sound effects are sharp and play incorrectly, as well as the input lag in Mega Man's in every single one of those, along with 7's credits not playing properly. To go along with that, they also messed up the Complete Works music in the GameCube version, because you don't get the remixed music in that version of the game. You also don't get any of the bonus features from the Complete Works, so you don't get the Pocket Station editions, you can't level up Mega Man or any of the bosses, you don't see any of the trivia. All of the trivia was translated for this version right here on the Legacy Collection as bonuses. You don't get the shops for 4, 5, and 6. They just really stripped these games down to the bare bones for the Anniversary Collection. I do not recommend it. But now we have Mr. X's Fortress. So let's go.
Dark Flame says, but yo, that Mega Man Battle Network music is fire, and Mega Man Battle Network 3 is my favorite.
I think everybody who lives with me knows Battle Network music is fire, because they all hum it when they're not doing anything. I think I've caught just about everybody humming the main Battle Network dun, 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 track.
Yeah, Gavin's caught me a few times humming the main theme for Battle Network, but I do sing a lot of music from 2 and 4 of the classic Mega Man series a bit more than anything else.
Oh yeah. So, Mr. X's Fortress actually has you climbing a skyscraper here. Right out the front. Because you can't get in the front gate. We find some glass that's just a little bit shattered up. They put spikes to try to deter you. However, don't let that be too much of a deterrent, especially if you've got rewind. This area is a secret, and it's one of the coolest secrets in this game. It lets you skip most of the hard sections, all because you've made one tricky jump that is incredibly hard to do. You now get punching blocks, easy to kill enemies, weapon refills if you've used weapons up to this point. And, to top everything off, 4 extra lives in a block. You cannot get that any other way. And it puts you right at the boss. Looks like we got 2 more messages as we're fighting this thing, whatever it's supposed to be.
Darkman Stage is my favorite classic Mega Man theme, and Dark Flame says, my man said remix, lol. Did one of us say remix?
I said the remixed music in the Complete Works, but other than that, I don't think I did reference any remixes.
You said that before that other comment came out. I'm not sure.
Anyways, you gotta remember there's a slight delay.
Yeah, on top of that, this girl's pretty stupid, so she wouldn't know anything about the Anniversary Collection.
Oh, stop. You're not stupid. No, as when I kept rewinding.
Oh, I see what the...
Oh, I get it. Yep. Yeah, no, the rewind feature I allow because it is in the Anniversary... It is in this collection, and this collection is the most readily available way to play the game. So I want people to be able to enjoy these games regardless of skill level. I am fairly good at this game. I'm really competent. If you haven't noticed, I didn't really rewind all too much in this game or 5. So what I want to do by showing off that yes, even I am making mistakes here, is that, hey, don't get discouraged if you're not super great at these games. Eventually you will be, and don't be scared to use the tools that the game allows for you. So, there's a floor that's, you know, invisible floor tile. There actually is no standing. It's just a spike pit. So I can recommend using Jet Megaman to pass through there.
Let's see here. That broken glass thing is cool. Side paths are the best.
Yes, they are. I really love side paths, and I like the fact that this is the Mega Man game with a lot of side paths. Gives you more options in how you play. I hope the next Mega Man game has multiple routes for you to take throughout the stages.
What did you think of the one I designed in Mega Man Maker, though?
That one was pretty cool. I liked that one.
For context, because I didn't really show this off anywhere. There's a program that's somewhat similar to Mario Maker, but for Mega Man, called Megaman Maker. And I challenged myself with... were you gonna say something?
Nope, you're good.
Okay, you inhaled. I thought you were gonna say something.
I'm trying not to die.
myself- Fair enough.
Alright, we're just gonna take the E-Tank. I didn't need 9 for the final boss anyways.
I tasked myself with making a Mega Man level, good one, and not making it what we call Little Timmy. Little Timmy is a term that's used both, it's used majority in Super Mario Maker for people who make levels that are either spamming with enemies, not really well designed, and just overly hard for no reason.
Believe it or not, we're actually going to be showing off Mega Man Maker later on when we do in this marathon. I'm actually going to be tasking my roommates to, or at least Truman and Casey, to design unique stages for me to tackle. And then after they're done making it, we'll play for online, and I'll do stages that you guys design in chat, so... But for now, I'm not ready to do that yet, and it'll be after we're done with most of the classic games. Probably all of them, honestly.
I do have a secret stage that's in the works right now, so I might be able to give you a pretty good one.
And it'll probably be about a month away before we do that. But,
Plenty of time.
plenty of time for people to, you know, get hype about that. Of course, I'm sure people are going to be excited for next week's Mega Man 5 for Game Boy run, especially because 5 for Game Boy recently got a DX patch that we will be playing.
Ooh.
The DX patch optimizes the game for the Game Boy, so it removes pretty much every instance of slowdown or lag in the game, as well as colors all of the sprites so that way then it'll only work on the Game Boy Color.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let me read... Oop.
Yeah, go ahead and read chat real fast. I'm just
Yeah.
having a
I was
field
gonna-
day with these guys.
I was gonna let you tackle these fired up enemies. Oh, I read chat. Tell me, what you know about the Top Man alt track weirdness in the Anniversary Collection?
Ah, yes. So, Top Man's track in the Anniversary Collection. So, in the original Complete Works, they did not have music ready to go for every single stage. They were using music from the Power Battles. And it wasn't until Mega Man 4 that they really stepped up their game with all of the music tracks getting remixes, regardless if they were in the fighter. In that fighting game. So, for Mega Man 3, so that way then more stages would have remixed music, because that was a major complaint with the first two games, was that not every stage had remixed music, they chose some tracks for Mega Man 7. So, Top Man actually, I believe, gets the intro stage of Mega Man 7 in that game. Just a little weird, a little quirky, but that's from the Complete Works, and then since the Anniversary Collection uses the Complete Works as a basis, you get Mega Man 7's opening theme in Top Man stage for that collection. If you choose to play with the remix music on the two versions that allow for it.
My name's Top Man, but you can call me Toppy.
Anyways.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
It's a Met in a trench coat.
Moved.
He's having a day.
Alright, it was I was good at Mega Man as a kid and in high school when I played X. Not as good now, according to Punk Disciple.
It's all like riding a bike. It takes a little bit of practice to get the muscle memory back. Even me, when I start playing another game series, I actually get worse at Mega Man because Mega Man is so demanding with my hands where other games aren't. So like, if I play Sonic for a while, one minute I jump back to Mega Man, I'm gonna be terrible for like my first 2 or 3 runs. Luckily, that's why we're doing most of these right in order, and the only real mix-up that we're doing is Mega Man 5 and 6. 4 and 5 are gonna have one video in between covering Donkey Kong and the arcade Donkey Kong titles. Not because I want to do more, not because I prefer it, just so I could stay relevant with the algorithms. Mario movie stuff, and Donkey Kong plays a big role there, and there's a lot of reasons. Honest to God, there's a lot of reasons. So the trick here for this one is to actually not go on that bottom path. Grab it and flip back around, because if not, you can actually end up accidentally sliding too far. And speaking of the blocks, here's a little trick. This guy will always spawn enemies down there, unless a block is over it. They'll always get out at least one, but you can plug the hole, which is great, because that means you can actually get a move on a little quicker.
Dark Flames said that the previous stage's music was fire.
It is pretty good.
And Felipe said that the Met wants death.
The Met wants something. Another thing I didn't mention about the power adapter is that it takes out shielded enemies. Here's another spot we can go 2 directions, either right or straight up. We're gonna go the up path, because I like the up path a little more. Honestly, I just really love that there's all these different paths to take. I love the fact that Mega Man is kind of the first game that gave the players a really good choice with their stuff. Like, you could pick what stages you do, you can pick what weapon you want to use, and now you can pick which path you want to do in the stages, and I think that's just a really good philosophy to have. Because if Mega Man's all about the level of creativity and freedom you can have in your choices, then 6 is the antithesis of that.
I have a pretty good question for you, Gav.
What's that?
If you could have any 3 power-ups from the Mega Man series, what weapons would you have?
I'd really like the jet adapter. That'd be pretty fun. Yeah, I don't really know too much. So this boss is neat. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hold off on that, answering that one real fast. So
okay.
this boss is a bit fun. Because if you use the power adapter with fully charged, you'll knock him off in whatever direction without him going the full length of the room. However, the boss fight is just a little bit easier if you don't do that. Because it can mess up the timing of that shot there that I keep trying to dodge. Luckily, we beat him. And here it is revealed that Mr. X was actually a disguise. The real Mr. X has long since gone. And Dr. Wily was the one truly behind it.
He shrunk.
And here is his real fortress here.
Velocity asks, this is just regular Mega Man, right? Not X or Z or whatever?
X, Zero, ZX, and Legends. I will be playing through those as well, but yes, this is just classic. So, Mega Man has one continuous timeline for its main story. One revolving around, technically there's two main timelines. You have a network one and a robots one. And the main series is the robots. So we have Classic, who is a robot created by Dr. Light. X, who was meant to be the next level of robot with free will. Zero, which made Reploids and humans very similar, and showcased what could possibly happen if left in the poor hands of a bot who doesn't really know too much about the world, how much problems that can cause for robot kind when the robot is only built to protect humans and not everybody.
Videosity says, good thing Mega Man has time powers.
Yeah, good thing I can use that for my advantage, except they're not really time powers and more just fancy rewind button. I want to show this off because this isn't one that normally gets shown off. You need to use the jet adapter for that. And then you get this lovely secondary path here. Always climb the ladder down, because if you don't, you never know what's gonna be beneath you. See? Sometimes your eyes trick you. Hey, that wasn't fair. That wasn't fair. Just here's a hole.
Are you cheating?
Foxino says, I'd want the 2 adapters and time stop as my 3 abilities.
Yeah, Brightman's weapon would be really useful.
You could blind everyone.
Well, it stops time for everyone, so...
I don't like how they handled my boy's voice in Ruby Spears.
Yeah, I would have loved to see the way Fully Charged would have handled Brightman, because I think they could have given him a really nice voice. Carmick says hole. Yes, that was. So here's a really fun fight. There's 2 ways to take this guy out. So first off, you can ride the platforms up and shoot his head. Or you can switch to Power Mega Man and do the whole Knight in Shining Armor thing. By hurling the disc-like platforms back at him. For the same amount of damage as his weakness. Which is Nightman's weapon, by the way, because it's meant to be like a castle and a dragon. And the power adapter is meant to be like the Knight's armor. Or no, it's not that. Maybe it is Yamato's spear. I'm going crazy. Sorry if anything I say is incorrect at first. I am coming back to these games after a good amount of time not playing them. And as I said, I didn't really practice for 5 and 6. Foxno says which hole?
That's not what...
But I think
that's not that one.
Yeah, I think we're talking about a pit. Fluffy Zenny says Durkin. Lovely.
There's 2. 3. Now 2 because you destroyed one.
But yeah, we won't see the NES again until just after this. So, next week, Mega Man 5 for Game Boy, 4 for Game Boy, which are their own streams, by the way. The Game Boy games are a bit longer than the NES ones, so I can't always put them 2 and 2 together. I would love to, I just can't. And then after that, then we're gonna be getting into the deeper woods of Mega Man 3 for Game Boy, 4 and 3 for NES, 2 and 1 for NES, and 1 and 2 for Game Boy. And then we'll do Wily Wars, and then Legacy Collection, if I remember correctly. I think that's the order that I wrote out for the month. Anyways, so we're all in agreement that, like, we're hungry, right, Casey?
Yes. I have a question. Do these count as Mets?
These guys are not. They're called Brainiacs. So
Brainiacs.
Yes. They are basically education robots. They've got, like, their little graduation hat on their head. They're meant to educate and learn. They're for philosophy. They appear in Nightman's level, because because that is supposedly the Ministry of Science, which was being held in a castle.
Interesting.
Alright, I'm
No,
gonna...
those enemies look like a very original and horrible character from Ruby Spears.
I know they do, and you know what's the biggest problem of that is it probably is what inspired that character. Sorry to burst a bubble.
What bubble was bursted? I was like, they look very similar. They must be one and the same. Also, what is this enemy that is so annoying?
Yeah, I have no idea. He's got fancy rolling wheels.
He looked like a child's walker to help them train with walking.
Yeah, no idea. Now we have the stage, which is gonna be, I believe, our final level here. If you noticed on my the screen with the E-Tanks and the pause menu, not the screen with the E-Tanks, we had 9 E-Tanks, so we are going to be good and cleared. You can use the jet, or you can just let these fans kind of push and blow you where you need to be. I think it's more fun to use the fans, personally. Because you can just kind of...
Zanny says...
You can just kind of go all over the place. Go ahead and read it out. Sorry.
Zenny said deadly shopping cart.
Yeah. Oh, man. Mega Man 6 is just such a good game. It really is just kind of... Mega Man in general, for me, is just kind of my comfort game. If I don't know what to play, I can pop in a Mega Man game, and I can at least, you know, have a good time with it, usually. I know that after this, though, I'm probably not going to want to play Mega Man for a while after we get done with the classic games. Which isn't too bad, because I'll get back to it with X and stuff, but... looks like we've got, yeah, Chronobird is back. Hello, welcome. They said they guessed the Academy was doing some illegal stuff. Nah. Just Wily reprogramming stuff. Anyways, so as we're doing the refight here, Casey, got any more questions? Chat, any more questions?
Got a bit of a fun fact about Plant Man, one that you've told me about.
Ooh.
Is that the creator of Plant Man and Light are friends, and so are Mega Man and Plant Man.
Yeah. That is 100% true. We actually see him in Ruby Spear, in the, not Ruby Spears, Archie comics, sorry. I believe his name was Pedro. He's Brazilian.
That's right, because, that man comes from the tropics.
Yep.
What if he is Plant Man, why are there... Wait. If he is Plant Man, why are there mushrooms?
Because he's a botanist. Botanists can also mess with fungi. They like plants. Fungi?
Like, isn't fungi a plant?
No, technically fungi is its own thing, but oftentimes we consider it a vegetable, so... Flame Man goes down easy with his weakness. As do all of these guys, really.
Then he responds with weird.
Yeah, it can be. Alright, back to rut.
You know what I really like about the boss rushes?
What's that?
That it's sort of like a test to see if you remember which weakness is for who.
Mm-hmm.
The missed opportunity for fun guy.
We'll see we'll see a fun guy in the X series. Trust me. There's a quote-unquote fun guy there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
The fungus among us. Funny man, says Felipe.
So, there's one thing we haven't shown off yet this entire time. And I think it's about time we get our little friend in here. We haven't used the beat call at all this entire game. Come on in, buddy. Now attack. Yeah, if you thought you could use that tactic here from 5, you are mistaken. Beat will only attack enemies, not bosses. He took too much damage at the end of Mega Man 5, and actually Mega Man is the one holding Beat back. So, yeah. That was Mega Man's call, not Beat's. Mega Man didn't want to see Beat get hurt again.
You don't want to see him get a beat down.
Yeah. Which is fair. You know, he did single-handedly take out the entire capsule. Was bound to happen. And he took out Darkman. Speaking of fun...
Don't drop the beat.
So, here's the final part of the stage. We have another Met Dispenser. It's way up high there. And just like that, Eddie shows up one last time. Weapon energy, perfect. We're going to put that right into Silver Tomahawk. And we're going to try to use Buster for at least the first part of the fight, and then move right into his weakness, because his weakness is actually the weakness for all 3 forms. Because yes, there are 3 forms in this final boss. This thing reappears in Mega Man's X5 for a fairly unique reason. but I'm not ready to reveal that quite yet. Alright, that should be more than enough. Tomahawk. 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 And now we've broken it down a little more. And now we've got one final part of the fight. The capsule. We're just going to use Silver Tomahawk for it. Get him when he's in the hard-to-reach corners. Oh, looks like we'll use an E-Tank here. 9 lives and 9 E-Tanks.
Wow.
That is not too bad.
It's not bad. I'd probably have, like, 1 E-Tank, if not 0.
And with that, Mega Man 6 is done. We captured Wily, and that brings us right into Mega Man 7, which we already covered on this channel. Dr. Wily is captured, taken to prison, and that's that.
Capcom times. I like that.
Foxno says, I like how Wily's health fades away when he does. He's just not happy that he's caught. Alright, yeah, no. If you guys enjoyed this very factual and long 2-game playthrough, be sure to drop a like and subscribe and all that jazz. We got more Mega Man coming next week with Mega Man 5 and 4 for Game Boy. That video will be probably titled Mega Man World 4 and 5. You'll learn why when we play it. And we'll also be doing Donkey Kong 1, Junior, 3, and I think some of the Game & Watch titles in one stream. So that'll be a fun time. So Casey, what did you think of this very long 2-game playthrough today?
I liked it. It was really fun. I had a good time.
That's good. Glad you did.
Actually, might want to try 6.
6 is pretty good. It's one of those up there. I actually own both an NES cartridge and a Famicom cartridge for this, so as well as the PS1 Complete Works. So this game right here means a lot to me. I mean, meant a lot to me back when I first played it. For getting me into retro games and really understanding what they were all about. So, really like Mega Man 6. It showed me how an NES game can be hard, and yet still completely fair. And it's worth definitely taking a look at. If 1 or 2 isn't doing it for you, and you think 3 is too buggy, go for 4, 5, and 6. They really are the most polished experiences on the NES. We have
Especially 4. I'm not biased.
Yeah, 4 is really, really good. But we have this nice credits melody. This isn't always listed as a track, but it is my favorite version because we have this nice backing beat in between all the pieces. The Complete Works is a fun remix of this as well. But it's not usually listed under OST because it just pulls the tracks from the actual stages themselves. But that's that. I'm just gonna let the credits play. The attention to detail in this game is just staggering. I love the way this game handles everything. The designs are top-notch. The boss fights are super fun to do, Buster only or with the weaknesses. The stage design is fantastic. The enemy placement is downright perfect. They really did have everything down by the time they did Mega Man 4. And with 6, it's just mastery of what they've learned, and 7 just steps it up so much more. So 6 and 7 are really a nice duology to have together. But yeah, that's it. That's it for me at least. Next week, we'll start up with Mega Man 5 for Game Boy. I'm sure Casey's real excited for that one. Especially since we'll be going to space in that one.
Bass core noises.
I think me and Casey are just running out of steam at this point because we're about 3 hours in and we're both really hungry because I woke up late and now we're gonna have to get food. But
I
hey,
had macaroni this morning.
you had macaroni this morning.
Yeah, and that's it.
Well, dang, I didn't even have that. I haven't eaten at all today.
Sorry.
I'm gonna see about getting a burrito. But as you can see down there at the bottom, we get a to be continued. They knew they were gonna do 7, which was great. But that's it from me. I have been your humble host, Gavin the Kitty. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at GavinDragonYT. If you really enjoy the show, you can donate to the PayPal link on your screen or in the description below. We have a Discord, Telegram group, as well as links to the Twitter down there that you can check out. To go along with that, we're also going to have stuff on the screen to click on whenever this video gets done processing on YouTube's end. I have been your humble host. Good night, everybody.